Welcome back, Axis and Allies player, Wars of the World, Series 2, the American Revolution. Take it, Nato.
Hello everybody, this is Nato at the Nest, and this is the first half of 1778 and of the American Revolution. And kind of a repeat of last, England attacked the northeastern territory and able to get 2 hits, caused 2 casualties. America got 1, but it wasn't enough to drive America out of the territory. And England loaded up a transport and sent it across. And while the one that just dropped off is returning, then England took its home island fleet and split it in 2 to cover cover the approaches to England in case France decided to try to invade London. And then that fleet is slowly making its way towards India. It's now just around the Cape, or just about to come around the Cape, sorry. America, like last turn, didn't counterattack in the Northeast Territory, just reinforced it from stuff from Washington. Tried to attack in the Carolinas again, and nothing happened. Everything missed. But now that France is now in the war, France loaded up its 4 transports. So that with 8 units, 4 infantry and 2 cavalry and 2 cannon, and has set sail for America. So that's a fairly decent sized army that America sorely needs. Then the French fleet moved out to Sea Zone 33 to screen its transports, because that fleet's too far away and that fleet's too far away. The only fleet that is in range of the transports is that fleet right there, and that British fleet right there. In order to get to the French transports, it has to go through Sea Zone 33. If it tries to go through 23, it'll fall short. If it goes through 23, its movement range means it'll stop at 32. And if it tries to go through 34, well then, assuming that French frigate wasn't there, if it tries to go through 34, then its movement range it'll stop at 33. So the only way that fleet can get to those transports is by moving through 33. Hence why the French fleet stopped there to screen the transports. If it had moved with the transports, that British fleet could reach them, and if the French fleet lost, then those transports and all those troops would go down with it. By stopping at 33, that'll force the British to battle in 33, and then that way, even if the battle goes south for the French, the transports will still be safe. And then if that should come to pass, the British still have that frigate there. So if that should come to pass, then that French frigate can just continue going south, keep itself out of range of British ships, and then just wait for the Spanish to join, and then the Spanish fleet can then move north and screen both the French transports and its own transport. Spain bought 3 more frigates, and that was it. So that was it for first half of 1778. and we'll come back with the second half of 1778, and probably some pretty big naval battles. See you then. Hello everybody, this is Nato at the Nest, and this is the second half of 1778 in the American Revolution. And England had a pretty tough turn. Remember the last video I talked about the British fleet that moved to 33 to screen their transports. Well, that fleet is still there. It's right there now, but the British took their entire home fleet, 8 frigates, and attacked the French fleet right there. So it was 8 British frigates versus 3 French frigates. And when it was all said and done, the English lost 4 frigates to the loss of only 1 French frigate, forcing the British fleet to retreat. So huge win for the French Navy, inflicting 4-1 losses on the vaunted British Navy. And then on land it didn't go much better. The British attacked the northeastern territory again, and even despite outnumbering the Americans over 2-1, the British were only able to inflict 3 casualties on the Americans, and the Americans responded by inflicting 4 casualties on the British. So even despite outnumbering the Americans almost 3-1, they took more casualties in the attack and failed to take the territory on top of it. So tough turn for England. Every engagement they were in went badly, and they lost every single one. Let's see what else. That transport returned home, and that transport with the Indian Army has rounded the Cape of Good Hope in Africa, and next turn we'll be able to land in India and start pursuing the French outposts and England's 2 victory points. So the next turn, the American Revolution will have gone global, with fighting on the other side of the world. And so that's it for the turn. A big turn for the Americans and their new French allies. And next turn is only going to get worse for the British, because next turn Spain enters the war on the American and French side. So now next turn England will be facing a 3-against-1 war. So we'll see what England does to stem the rising tide. So we'll see you next turn, and it'll be New Year for the war, 1779. It's Nato again. I'm an idiot, and I totally forgot to do America, France, and Spain's turn. So America, once again, didn't counterattack northeastern territory, just reinforced it. Once again, attacked the Carolinas. Once again, no one hit anything. So they're like the British and Americans in the Carolinas must be drunk or something, because neither of them can hit a damn thing. The French fleet in 33, after beating up on the British, moved the fleet across the Atlantic to threaten that British frigate and the transport. The French transports moved down and across the Atlantic to there, making sure they're staying out of range of any British ships. And France bought another frigate and combined it with the home fleet, the frigate that was staying at home, and bought some more troops. Spain bought nothing but frigates, so Spain now has 11 frigates sitting right there. So with the goal being to have Spain tie up all of as much of British production as possible in buying more ships and fighting a naval war, and freeing up the French and the Americans to concentrate on a ground war and clearing out the British from North America. Because the American rebels are pretty much on their last leg. They can't hold the northeastern territory for much longer, and once that goes, there's nothing shielding them from Washington and America's last capital, or America's one and only remaining factory. And if that goes, well, the American cause is pretty much gone from that point as well, because that's also the American capital. But they've held out long enough, and there is a strong French army that can land next turn. So the Americans held out long enough. Now it's up to Spain to close English reinforcements from the sea, and France and America's job to sweep the British from North America. So now we'll see you next turn.